Welcome to Santiago, and thank you very much for inviting me to this starting activity. Thank you in particular to the organizers, the International Association of Insurance Supervisors, and the Commission for Financial Markets of Chile. And I'm very glad that you're able to hold this conference in person after this time when so many activities and seminars and professional activities had to take place through the internet. We value this international association for its role in contributing to reinforce the role of regulators in maintaining global financial stability and the protection of the insured in the context of emerging risks and new economic and social challenges that face the world, and of course they face Chile as well. In Chile, we have we discuss many issues that are very similar to those that are included in the conference: capital standards, financial inclusion, climate risk, financial cycle challenges for the insurance industry, among many others. Chile is the country in Latin America with the strongest penetration of the insurance industry. A little less than 4% of GDP is the relationship between premiums to GDP, and this represents a leadership in our region, not only in terms of the depth of the market, but also related to the extent of it. The challenge for the industry is, of course, to fill still the gap that separates us from more advanced economies. We may be the more developed in Latin America in the insurance industry, but of course there is still a large gap with more developed countries in the world. So a challenge for our industry, and of course also to our regulator, is to see how we cover that gap. There are a number of ways in which we intend to do that. There are regulatory initiatives, there are industrial development initiatives in the insurance industry, and I will refer to a few of them. I think that first of all, we should speak of financial inclusion. The coverage of insurance tends to be concentrated, of course, in business and on people that have larger assets to protect. But at the same time, it is also true that the exposure to risk of many people in the country, many middle income and lower income people, is also large as well. One factor that explains differences or inequality across society is the inequality in the resources to recover from a shock, from an event that may affect families. Richer people always have something to go back to, be it their own savings, be their insurance, be their family ties, their social ties. The poor have very little of that. So inclusion in the insurance industry is a very important challenge to all of us. As a government, we support financial inclusion from our sphere, and in the case of insurance, to see how to reach people that are still in the margins of the protection of the risks. A sustainable inclusion based on the three pillars defined by the OECD: better access to services, adequate protection of consumer rights, and strengthening of financial and social security education should be the main avenues through which we should walk to advance in this regard. In this scenario, it's essential that the Commission for Financial Markets promotes and supervises the solvency of insurance institutions with a special focus on risk management, market conduct, and corporate government. Also in line with the reference insurance markets for our country, we must move forward in closing the gaps that exist today with respect to the best international practices in risk management and capital requirements. It is a priority to improve the system of regulation and supervision of the insurance industry, and we have proposed to reactivate the discussion of a bill to reform the insurance law as soon as possible, taking as reference the new collegiate government of the CMF, the risk-based capital regulations, the flexibility in the regulation of investment, and supervisory powers of the Financial Markets Commission, considering the risks of the industry. In other words, we are promoting a risk-based approach to the supervision of insurance, of the insurance market. Life insurance companies have nearly $60 billion in investments in Chile, most of it backing annuity technical reserves. Monthly, every month, insurance companies pay almost 675,000 life annuity pensions. The pension life annuity is a very important contract for which there is a special concern in the supervision carried out by the CMF. To this end, two areas of action can be distinguished, prudential and market. In the prudential area, the focus is to ensure that insurers have sufficient resources to meet their commitments to the insured. Hence, all supervisory work verifies compliance with regulations on investments, reserves, and ultimately the solvency of entities. From a market conduct perspective, the emphasis is on the marketing of the annuity. In this sense, the main source of information on possible problems or difficulties has to be found in the review and processing of the claims received from pensioners, in whose analysis inappropriate practices can be detected that can even give rise to sanctioning judicial procedures. As a government, we have just submitted to Congress a bill to reform the Chilean pension system. That bill is proposing to generate or to make the annuity the universal mechanism to calculate pensions in the future. That is necessary in a structure that combines a basic universal pension and also a social security component. So in building that architecture and to ensure that we generate stable pensions for people, we also need a stable pension generated from the private capitalization pillar of the system. Of course, that would involve a number of challenges. First of all, how people select their annuities, how to ensure that they get the best costing for that, how to obtain the best pension. So there is an auctioning procedure that is also being proposed in this bill. Another feature that is included in the proposal from the government is to allow to include as part of an annuity or as a complement of an annuity inheritance. Inheritance today, as you may probably know, is only allowed under the alternative to the annuity pension. So now we are proposing that in making a decision about their annuity, pensioners can decide on including an inheritance component. So by doing that, we would allow not a minority, not a small fraction of pensioners to have the possibility of leaving inheritance, but we will allow every pensioner to make that choice. Of course, some of them may prefer something different, may prefer a larger annuity. Of course, that would be part of their decision, but the important thing is that they all will have that chance. On other dimension of insurance, as we all know, and nature keeps us aware of that. Only 2 days ago, we had a small quake. Chile is located in the Pacific Ring of Fire. So the main natural hazards that we face are earthquakes, tsunamis, floods, landslides, and volcanic eruptions. The possibility of frequently suffering significant damage and loss in terms of human, economic, and financial lives is one of the greatest challenges that faces our country. Most of the catastrophic risks are transferred to international reinsurers with low credit risk in Chile. All reinsurers that accept seismic risk from Chile are foreign, so international coordination and cooperation with the local supervisors is very important. On February 27, 2010, we experienced an earthquake of magnitude 8.8 in the Richter scale that affected 6 regions in the country. 521 people died, and the estimated economic losses amounted to some $30 billion. The event affected 500,000 households. 220,000 claims were paid by insurance with a total of $6.8 billion against a total cost of $60 million in reinsurance premium. So that is an experience that left with us the value of insurance in dealing with these natural events. But we're also vulnerable to climate change. We meet 7 of the 9 characteristics established by the UN Framework Convention, that is, low-lying coastal areas, arid and semi-arid zones, forest areas, territories susceptible to natural disasters, areas prone to drought and desertification, urban areas with air pollution problems, and mountainous ecosystems. Chile was in 2015 in the top 10 of the Climate Risk Index. On average, each year between 1980 and 2011, Chile recorded losses close to 1.2% of GDP due to natural disasters, according to the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. And for this reason, the incorporation of climate risk in the insurance sector is a very important challenge for us. Parametric insurance is in particular a way to generate resilience in the population in the face of high-impact seismic events, as well as in other natural events. The challenge for us is to reconcile the local legal framework with the existence of parametric insurance. The FinTech law that has just been approved includes this figure, and particularly makes it very relevant for the agricultural sector exposed to droughts, low temperatures, and so on. So in all these different dimensions, in life insurance related to annuity and the development of the pension system, in conventional insurance against risks for corporations, in coverage against natural risks, our country stands very interested and very motivated to continue developing the insurance industry, applying to it the highest and more modern regulatory standards, and we hope that this conference will inspire our own regulator and our own authorities to keep moving in making insurance a basic pillar of dealing with risk in a country that every day is bracing to reduce uncertainty and to face with more confidence the future. Thank you very much.